Roblox Doors is the definition of a horror game. It has the scary sounds, it has the scary entities, and best of all, it also packages it all nicely with a very deep lore that is still yet to be solved. And within its newest Floor 2 update, we have seen many of the game's mechanics been changed, but what about the horror, the core concept of the game? Well, this is the evolution of horror within Roblox Doors. Like and subscribe and let us know below what you think of the game. Number 1. Atmosphere and Visuals. The atmosphere and visuals for any horror game always plays a big and important role, especially when it comes to the horror aspect within the game, and Roblox Doors is no exception to that. When the game was first released back in 2022, it was at the time one of the best designed horror games on the whole Roblox platform, as the game featured a very unique atmosphere, and going back to old game models once again does show the old and vintage system that the game was built upon. One big difference being the old courtyard, as it shared a more nostalgic old Roblox feeling compared to the new one, where it doesn't even feel like you're playing a Roblox game anymore. We can see side-by-side gameplay footage, one from 2022 and one from 2024, just how much the visuals have changed within the game as the game's engine has evolved over the years thanks to the many updates that the game has undergone. The entities within the game also have received major visual enhancements as the developers keep finding more and more ways to further improve the design, one of which being the figure, as their old model back in 2022 was actually much shorter and more simpler compared to now, where the entity features a lighting mechanism from within their mouth. All these changes help contribute to the horror and scariness of the game. Number 2. Sound effects and music. Another big part of any horror game is the sound effects and music, and in Roblox Doors, this has gone way better over time. Back in 2022, the game already had decent sound design. There were spooky sounds and creepy noises that made you nervous, but it's now on a whole new level. In the early days, you may hear simpler background music or sounds that felt more random, like someone drinking a can of Bloxy soda, or basic jump scare noises that kept you on edge. But today, the sound design really connects with the atmosphere of the game and adds to the horror, one of which from Doors Floor 2, where you can actually hear sound risers or even older scrapped entity sounds deep from within the background. Another example is when you're walking through a quiet room, the eerie background sounds make you feel something's about to happen. With the rework on the sounds, Floor 2 contains a very interesting ambient sound that would honestly scare many players from within the community. The music itself has also become much more intense. During a chase, the fast-paced music makes your heart race as you try to run away from Seek. The entity's footsteps and strategic growls now also sound much more natural, adding more to the horror within the game. All of the new sound effects, from creaky doors to loud footsteps, make the game feel much more scarier and keeps you hooked for many future runs. Number 3. Entity behavior. How the monsters act in Roblox Doors has changed a lot too, which also helped make the game even scarier. In the early days, monsters like Rush and Seek were scary, but their movements weren't too easy to predict. You'd learn their patterns, and it wasn't as hard to avoid them after a while. But now entities are way more smarter and less predictable. For example, Ambush used to follow a simple path by simply doing just one rebound attack, but now it moves differently each time, as it can now do multiple rebounds as many times as it pleases. You never know when the entity will just go away. Some of the new monsters that also have been added in are also more trickier to deal with and contain new mechanics, such as Halt, who originally just had a long straight hallway with no obstacles at all, though compared to now, the entity now features more complex rooms to navigate around, or even Figure, who can now detect sounds even better with their new AI rework compared to the old Figure that used to just walk around a specific path. These changes keep players on their toes, making every encounter feel fresh and scary. Number 4. Gameplay pacing. The speed of the game has also changed a lot, and that helps improve the horror aspect of Roblox Doors. When the game first came out, things felt a lot slower, giving you more time to think and explore before running into monsters, sometimes running into as many as 15 doors before running into your first entity. But as the game got more updates, the developers sped things up so that the action happens more often. Most notably, when Floor 2 dropped, players were able to get entities as soon as the second door, which was really insane. The game now features a better balance between letting you explore and then suddenly throwing you into an intense moment in between the boss entities within Floor 2. Number 5. Challenge designs. The puzzles and challenges in Roblox Doors have gotten a lot harder and also improved the scariness over time. When the game first came out, you mainly had to do things like find keys or do super simple stuff such as pull down levers that were honestly just sitting in plain view. But with all the new updates, the challenges have become much more complicated. Now you might have to solve harder puzzles while a monster is nearby, such as dealing with figure along with fuses from the generators, or players may have to solve more complex problems within the game, such as dealing with those anchors at door 150. It goes beyond the original puzzles that we saw when the game first came out, with the library being the most difficult one, dealing with all those coded books. Now it honestly looks like a cakewalk, especially as we now have to deal with anchor puzzles that don't even have workable screens. Maze puzzles have also improved quite a bit, from once being very easy within an open lever room to now dealing with multiple sections in order to find that same lever, to even in Floor 2 with the mazes becoming flooded, introducing a time limit for players to escape within. Number 6. Lighting and shadows. One of the coolest ways Roblox Doors has become scarier is through its lighting and shadow systems. In earlier versions of the game, most of the rooms were just dimly lit, as the rooms towards the end of the game did feature more and more dark rooms. But it wasn't as scary and it was very manageable even without a light source equipped. But now the lighting has gotten a lot more spookier, and sometimes a room gets so dark that you can barely see what's in front of you, forcing you to carry light sources as they become even more important than ever. In future updates, you'll find yourself in rooms where lights end up completely breaking, to even now dealing with entities such as gloom bats that are anti-light and break any light source that they come into contact with. This makes the game much scarier and harder, because if you can't see where you're going, well, it adds more fear to the player and their gameplay experience. Further side-by-side gameplay footage does show how Roblox progressed when it comes to their lighting system, as their lighting settings do suggest some major changes along the way. Number 7. Story and lore. The story behind Roblox Doors has become much deeper, making the game scarier because there are more mysteries to be solved. At first, when the game first came out, there were many secrets and Easter eggs, but with the game being freshly out, there weren't really as many ties and connections when it came to the deeper story that lies within. But now the developers have added hints and clues that tell us more about the world of Doors. For example, you can't find secret notes or messages hidden in rooms such as the newly revamped courtyard that give you little pieces of the backstory of what the reality of Doors really is. This makes players even more curious about what's really going on in the game and what the entities are all about. The story keeps growing with each update, with the developers adding in more and more subliminal messages and clues that truly unmask the realities of these entities, making the game feel even more creepier and exciting as time goes on. In which ways did you see Doors horror improve? Like and subscribe, and take care.